Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to Tay TV. In my video, I will be reacting to these scary TikToks.
This is the shocking UK case that has just come to light of Alex Batty from Oldham. This month, Alex Batty, who went missing aged 11 during a 2017 holiday to Spain, was miraculously found. A student had been making a delivery at 3 a.m. in a rural town in France. He suddenly came across a teenager looking disheveled, walking in the pouring rain. It was pitch black and he knew something was up. The student stopped and struck up a conversation with Alex, and as they got talking, Alex's unbelievable story of survival came to light. The student ended up putting Alex's name into Google and realizing he'd been missing all of these years. Alex had been trekking for days for over 22 miles. The student let Alex use his phone to send a message to his nan, 68-year-old Susan. Alex tried on multiple different apps to try and get hold of her and wrote, "Hello Grandma, it's me Alex, please pick me up." On another app, he wrote, "Hello Grandma, it's me Alex, I'm in France, Toulouse. I really hope that you receive this message. I love you and I want to come home." The student dropped him off by a local police station to try and get him some help. 6 years earlier, Alex had gone on holiday to Spain with his mum and his granddad. They'd actually taken Alex from his nan who had custody of him. They sent his nan a video at the end of the holiday telling her that they would not be returning him to her. Alex was forced to live in religious communes in remote locations. He'd been named Zach Edwards while living there. He ended up deciding it was no way for him to live and escaping of his own accord. Police are currently hunting his mum Melanie and the granddad. Alex was reunited with his nan and said, "When I got back to Manchester, it was raining as usual. I was driven back to my grand's house and I walked in the door and she's in the living room. I started shaking and just gave her a massive hug."
This is the only known man to be both dead and alive at the same time. His name is Riliu Constantine, and in 1992 he left Romania to go to Turkey for work. He then was out of contact with his family for 10 years and his wife assumed he was dead, so she went ahead and got a death certificate. And the man had no idea, but one day he was deported from Turkey back to Romania because his passport had expired. So he planned on just renewing it and going back to Turkey. But as soon as he landed, he was detained and informed that he had died back in 2003. So of course he went to the courts to overturn it, but the court said that he was too late to appeal it. And as far as they were concerned, he was officially dead, and now he can't get a passport, a driver's license, or even a job.
Videos that can never be explained. A police body cam captures lady vanishing out of nowhere.
Hey, how's it going?
I was speeding, wasn't I?
Yeah, you completely blew past that stop sign in front of me.
I'm so sorry. I literally didn't even see it.
No
This
worries.
is my first time being pulled over.
Alright, can I see your driver's license registration, please?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Here's my license, but this is my mom's car, so
Where are you headed to where you're speeding and missing stop signs?
I was just headed to a friend's house. It's like literally right there. It's
Okay.
a birthday party.
Got it.
Not mine.
Any drugs or alcohol in the vehicle?
No, of course not.
Alright, sit tight, Sarah. I'll be right back. Your registration is
Where did she go?
Sarah?
Out of nowhere.
What the heck? Sarah?
Ah, man. Woo.
3201
What is happening? Twinkle up.
to dispatch. Hi.
This is the terrifying mystery of the Virginia Tech murders. Heidi Childs and David Metzler were childhood sweethearts. They grew up in Virginia and met through a church youth group and were inseparable by the time that they were at Virginia Tech College. Heidi was 18 and on the 26th of August 2009, she was super excited for an appointment the following day with a careers advisor. On the day in question, David had planned something really nice for her. He planned to take her out on a date to a field in Jefferson National Forest. The plan was they were going to hang out and play some music while the sun set. The location he picked is a lovely spot, but the fields are quite secluded. The couple got there at around 8:15, and what happened next is not clear. The following day at 8 a.m, a dog walker found the couple's bodies. David was in the driver's seat of his car and there was glass all over the gravel by the door. He'd been shot. Heidi had also tragically been shot with a hunting rifle and was found outside of the car. Her bag, phone, ID, camera and lanyard were all missing. The first press conference revealed that DNA evidence had been collected which was believed to be from the killer. There were also 6 cars identified that police were investigating further. However, tragically, this case has very much gone cold. Many believe that the couple may have stumbled upon something they shouldn't have seen and were then killed to keep them quiet. Another theory is that a poacher may have accidentally shot David and then shot Heidi to cover this up. I recently actually covered the case of the back-to-school killer Jesse Matthew, who was actively killing during this period of time in this area. However, this case doesn't seem to match Jesse's typical MO or motive. Unfortunately, this case remains unsolved to this day.
What's this?
This man took a photo of his killer a second before he was gunned down. 35-year-old Reynaldo Daxa was celebrating New Year's with his family in the Philippines and took this photo of his wife, daughter, and mother-in-law outside their house. But as he smiled for the photo and waited for midnight to strike, there appeared to be 2 random men in the background. And as soon as Reynaldo clicked the shutter, this man aims at him and pulls a trigger. So here's the thing, Reynaldo was a politician and was one of the few that did not tolerate gang activity at all. He made sure that criminals were put behind bars and served a long sentence. And with that being said, these gang members did not like Reynaldo, and so they hired 2 men to murder him. Unfortunately, Reynaldo did not survive, but these 2 men were easily identified because of the photo that he took showing their faces.
I was forced to stay awake for 30 days straight. They call it the Russian sleep experiment. They put 5 of us into a room and released a gas. That made it impossible to go to sleep. We were all captured war prisoners. They were studying us to see what would happen to a human if they stay awake for 30 days. Day 1 everything seemed fine. We were promised freedom after we completed the experiment. But as the days went by, our conversations grew darker. Paranoia took hold, tearing us apart. On day 9, one of us started screaming uncontrollably until his vocal cords gave out. The rest of smeared our own feces over the glass so they couldn't see us. On the 15th day, they needed to know what was happening. They turned off the gas and opened the doors. They were not ready for the horrific scene they were about to walk into, flesh torn. We consumed our own bodies, desperate to stay awake. We didn't want to leave anymore. We begged them to turn the gas back on, but they refused to help us. Somehow we were able to survive all this, but we knew it would be the end when we fell asleep. Remember us, remember our torment.
Sad, man, sad.
Bullitt County mom charged with murdering her 2 young sons was back in court today. Tiffany Lucas was arrested last week after her 2 sons were found shot inside their Shepherdsville home. The victims were 6-year-old Maurice and 9-year-old Jaden. It was a neighbor who found the kids in a bedroom. They were rushed to the hospital but died. During today's hearing, a detective said both boys were shot in the head, and he talked about questioning Lucas after that shooting.
I asked Ms. Lucas if she meant to hurt her children. She indicated that it was an accident. She also made some comments such as, quote, "I'm in such a bad spot."
Lucas is being held in the Bullitt County Detention Center on $2 million bond.
The shooting happened Wednesday morning around 11 when neighbors spotted Lucas outside and asked if she was okay. She responded that her kids were dying inside the home. That's when a neighbor found the 6- and 9-year-olds in a bedroom and called 911. Investigators say the gun was nearby.
No sense. Let's get back to this video.
We need to talk about one of the worst accidents that ever happened on a horror film set, because I don't really see this moment talked about much. So this accident happened on the set of The Exorcist, which is already a movie that plenty of people think was cursed, hence why I did a whole episode about it. But in the movie, Linda Blair plays this little girl named Reagan who was possessed by a demon. And the way that the film shows you that she's possessed are by these contraptions that they built for her. This is one that makes her levitate, but there was also this one that made her thrash around. To use this device, Linda had to be sewn into a plank, that way her back was supported while it was thrashing around. And mind you, the people controlling this device were adult men, and Linda was a child. So during one take, Linda actually became untethered from this device, meaning that her back was no longer supported.
And not right
and you can
at
see
all.
it in this take, but watch as she starts crying after the director calls cut. That's because Linda had just broken her spine. The director and the other adults in the room all thought that she was acting up a storm, when in fact her screams and cries were from her spine being fractured. Anyways, that's only one of the many wild things that happened on this set, so check out the episode for more.
This man got to spend Christmas with his family after 43 years. That's because 62-year-old Kevin Strickland was released from prison after being wrongfully convicted for a crime he did not commit. In 1978, 19-year-old Kevin was charged and sentenced to life in prison for the murder of 3 people. The case against Kevin was mainly built around the testimony of the only eyewitness, Cynthia Douglas, who was also shot but survived. Cynthia was asked to pick 3 men from a live lineup and confirm that they were the shooters. These men included Vincent Bell, Kilm Atkins, and Kevin Strickland. Unfortunately, Kevin was the only one who was actually innocent. But within a year of Kevin's conviction, Cynthia admitted that she made a mistake and that he was not involved. She constantly tried to help Kevin with his release, but she passed away in 2015. In 2020, the 2 other men that were involved admitted that Kevin was not with them during the attack. Kevin was eventually released 43 years later, and even though that's exciting, it's been said that Kevin will not be receiving any compensation for his time spent in prison. And this is because Missouri's compensation law only allows payments to prisoners who prove their innocence through a specific DNA testing, and that was not the case for Kevin.
43 years for something
story
he
coming
didn't
out
do.
of Oklahoma, guys. This 8-year-old little boy suffered a gunshot wound to the head while looking at Christmas lights with his mother, who was also delivering food for DoorDash. This happened on December 10th around 8 p.m. in Lawton, Oklahoma. His mom had stopped the car and then reversed the car a little bit so he could look at some more lights, and that's when shots rang out. The mother was driving, but she had 2 of her sons in the vehicle as well as her mother-in-law. She said that she drove away as fast as she could. Her sons' names are Waylon and Zach. Waylon told his mom that he could see his brother Zach bleeding, but he didn't know where from. That's when she drove as fast as she could to the hospital. The little boy suffered a skull fracture and a blood clot to the brain. He is alive. They say that he is having a little bit of trouble processing things and can't sit up on his own yet, but other than that, he's doing amazing. Police did make an arrest. It was someone that was 30 years old named Julian Phillips, and apparently they had no connections with the family. It's such a miracle that this little boy survived.
Breaking news, someone has stolen a 50-pound tarpon from the Bass Pro Shop aquarium. The event took place this week at a Bass Pro Shop in South Fort Myers, Florida. Deputies say the man took a large fishing net from the store, headed to the large fish tank, accompanied by 2 others wearing a GoPro camera. Shortly after, a Bass Pro employee said, quote, "Someone came up to me holding a scale of a tarpon and said, 'Look, someone just stole a tarpon.'" Bystanders then pulled out their phones while the man was committing the crime. Here's some of the video.
Oh, bro, dude, get away.
The employee also said, quote, "They can't really last long because once they get to a certain size, they're not supposed to take them out of the water." So obviously, he took it out of the water forcefully and then walked all the way out of the store. According to Florida Wildlife Conservation, the tarpons are protected by the state of Florida. Anyone possessing the tarpon fish without the required certification is strictly prohibited. At this time, Bass Pro Shop is working with authorities to locate the individual who committed the crime. I'll keep you guys updated if anything develops. What do you guys think? Drop in the comments.
Oh, we're doing a spa day. We booked a spa day. We're gonna go get her pedicure, manicure, facial, haircut, colored if she wants. You know, the works, bring her shopping. She can't wait to go clothes shopping with Mia. So it's gonna be a whole day of events the following day. Maybe that night that she gets released, we'll do the Christmas with her. Let her open a ton of gifts. She sure did. She's been married for over a year. We support her in every way.
You support her.
We didn't want, I mean, we wish she would have waited. But at the end of the day, it's her decision. She's a grown woman. And I just pray and hope it works out. He's a great guy. He loves her.
Each of these pictures have a backstory that will make you sick to your stomach. This just looks like a normal family photo of a bunch of siblings, right? That is until you know what the two older brothers on the right did. This is the Beaver family, and the two oldest brothers of the family, named Robert, who was 18, and Michael, who was 16, plotted to kill their entire family for years. The pair was obsessed with serial killers and wanted to gain fame and notoriety by carrying out mass murders. And they then decided to start with their family. On July 22nd, 2015, their 13-year-old sister named Crystal walked by their room, and Robert then grabbed her, covered her mouth, and then cut her throat. She screamed, and other family members came running into the room. Their mother then came running into the room, and the two boys then stabbed her over 40 times. The brothers then stabbed their father over 50 times, and their 12-year-old brother over 9 times. Then they stabbed their 7-year-old brother 6 times, and their 5-year-old sister 18 times. In the end, they killed 5 family members, their parents and 3 siblings, and seriously injuring another. These two psychopaths' goal was to kill as many as 100 people, but they obviously got caught for these horrific murders, and Robert Beaver and Michael Beaver eventually pleaded guilty to all counts and was sentenced to life in prison. Next, on October 6, 2023 in Cambodia, a man named Sam Ang, who you see in this picture right here, beheaded his wife, who is in this picture also, and he also beheaded their 2-year-old daughter. Sam Ang was a drug user, and he had an argument with his wife because of jealousy. Witnesses said that they heard the couple arguing before the incident, and they then heard a bone-chilling scream on the day of the murder. This case is still under investigation, so not much information and articles about it are available online. However, pictures of the crime scene are. The pictures are extremely gruesome, and you see the beheaded bodies of both his wife and his 2-year-old daughter.
If you give me literally 39 seconds, I'm going to show you exactly how I got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube without ever showing my face, recording videos.
So this guy, this serial killer who I'd never heard of, killed a lot of people. Just a few days ago, this dude decides, hey, you know what would be a great idea is making inappropriate comments about my cellmate's children. Now, the cellmate happened to be a convicted murderer. Now, what you're thinking, that's a recipe for some swift fucking justice, and you'd be right. So what this guy, Billy Shamirmir, would do was he would break into these senior living homes, or he would just knock on these old women's doors at their houses and be like, hey, maintenance. And once he was inside, it would always be the same. He would put a pillow over their face until they weren't breathing anymore. And why? What was the motive in all this? He just wanted their jewelry. He just wanted their belongings. 7 of 91-year-old Mary Bartell's neighbors had turned up dead in their retirement home before Mary got a knock on her door, but there was no concern in the air because all the deaths were just ruled natural causes. He told her, just go to bed, don't fight me, and then he forced that pillow over her face. But this time things went a little different. He left thinking he finished what he came to do, but Mary woke up and told the cops what happened, which
Right.
prompted the police to start looking at these deaths. Now, as they're investigating this and they start to see a pattern, things going missing from the building, all that, they also find that a vehicle has been flagged across multiple senior living homes as being a suspicious vehicle. They look at the license plate on the vehicle and it leads them to Shamir Mir's apartment, where they find Shamir Mir literally with jewelry in his hands in the parking lot of his building, having just disposed of a jewelry box. A jewelry box of another 81-year-old woman who, when they go to her house, find her deceased with a lipstick-stained pillow by her side. Now, he had done this to 22 women over a 2-year period, and what also probably made it easier for this guy is he was actually a former at-home care aide. So anyway, Shamir Mir just earlier this week makes those inappropriate comments about his cellmate's children. Well, that of course turned out to be a fatal mistake, and Shamir Mir was dragged out into the hallway and had a beating and a pen stabbing laid on him for the tiny window of 15 to 20 minutes before anybody worked.
Breaking news, authorities have provided new details on the 5-year-old twins found mysteriously deceased in their home. The chief of detectives in the New York State Police Department said that the boy who was found deceased was at school and vomiting on November 30th. He was sent home. Then on December 12th, he had a runny nose and other cold-like symptoms, and he was sent home again. In addition, the mother of the two said that the daughter had recently had an ear infection,
This is it for this video. Stay tuned for my next video. Thank you.